A very good morning to you on the 16th day of October. It is a Thursday morning and we are broadcasting live on the Fifth Connection. If you've joined us, then you are aware that on this channel we talk you through the storyline of the Word of God. This morning we are in chapter 4 and we are in verse number 18 of the storyline. Ideological possession is a very dangerous thing because our thoughts are captivated and shaped and directed by ideas. Because you see, people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. And whenever I embrace an ideology, whether it is a systematic theology or an ism, it takes over and dominates my mind. Now, the last time I checked, I am to have no ism dominate my mind. Why? Well, there's a biblical text that says, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." What mind? An ideologically captivated mind or possessed mind? No. A mind that is consumed with the risen Lord. Now, that's a very different thing than having your mind captivated by a set of ideas, a pre-programmed script of statements. Statements and responses that promote a narrative about how things are due to logical fallacies. We are very prone as human beings, saved and unsaved alike, born free or not. We all have ideologies that captivate our minds, and we need to do warfare engage in warfare against these ideas so that every stronghold, 2 Corinthians 10, every stronghold is broken down. Every thought is brought into the obedience, under the obedience of Christ. Because the weapons of our warfare are not fleshly, they're not carnal. They are mighty to pulling down fortresses of thinking, ideologies that possess us without us even knowing it. That's why we need the scriptures, constantly reading the scriptures, meditating on it and reflecting on it and engaging around it in the assembly. This morning we are in verse number 18 because Paul has taken great pains. He's taken time to explain what cruciform bodybuilding looks like. It's about bodybuilding in chapter 4, but this bodybuilding exercise is cross-shaped. It is cruciform in shape. So from verse 1 to verse number 33 of this chapter, it is chock full about how God moves his body, the assembly, wherever it is found, how he moves it from babyhood to maturity, from neoteny to maturity. I've often said to you, it's one thing to watch an 18-month-old baby dribbling at the mouth when he or she drinks milk. It's quite another thing to watch a 50-year-old drinking milk and dribbling and drooling at the mouth and messing all over his face or her face. We ought to be going and growing. Go and grow. So that in the first 12 verses, the writer is talking about a broadcast etiology where the gifted men that are given to the assembly are to be equipping the saints, those newborns that have come into the family, constantly equipping them to get the move on. And that is why there is a tall ordered hierarchy that is rank based to help the body get off of their hiney, get off of dead center, get off of their blessed assurance, and be moving toward maturation. Have you ever wondered why it is that when you ask a little child, how old are you? And they'll struggle to put up their fingers. 1, 2. I'm 2 years old, but I'm going to be 3. Now, why is there that compulsion? Even if you ask an old boy, a seasoned senior, how old are you? They may be 79. Oh, I'll be 80 soon. I didn't ask what you will be soon. I asked how old are you? There is incidentally always this idea that I need to go to the next level. A child is 2, wants to be 3. And when they are 3, they want to be 4. And when they are 5, they want to be 18. And of course, when they're 18, they want to be 19. It's sort of a built-in reflex, knee-jerk, if you will, kind of action. What's the next level, the next step up? Oh, I'm an epi, but I'm going to be qualified soon. Oh, we are married, but we're going to have a baby soon. Somehow there is this reaching toward going and growing. What's the next step? What's the next hurdle? What's the next rung of the ladder? And so moving from a broadcast etiology to a mesh network topology, which is not now tall and ordered, a tall ordered hierarchy, but it is a flat disordered ecology, because you are born into relations. It's relations first and then relata. You know anything about neuroscience? Then you know that there's a trinity in reality. Relations, relata, and out of relating to relata, there would be relationships. The body needs to move on to the next step, where relations are based on reciprocity. There is mutual edification, peer on peer edification inside the body. I get the impression when I sit in a morning so-called worship service that the only fellow that's thoroughly enjoying himself is the preacher. He can't wait to burst forth and utter great things because he's excited about what he's engaged with in the text. But everybody else is sitting passively listening, because somehow we have bought into this idea that the only way and the best way to learn is to sit down and shut up and switch your brain off and put it in a parking meter and let the preacher tell you what to think. Seldom how to think, more what to think. And then the movement goes on in verse 17 to verse 33. You move from a broadcast etiology to a mesh network topology, right into a renewed vitality, which is live and reordered. Not disordered, but reordered. It is a reordered morphology that's constantly changing. It is reform based on reality. What you face this morning is really real. You don't live in a surreal world, because if you do, you're going to wake up somewhere along the way. Back to life, back to reality, that commercial song says. Back to life, back to reality. And very often what is really real is so scary for us, we don't even want to face it. And so this morning, let's look at verse number 18 in the biblical text, because in 7 through 19 of chapter 4, the precept is stated, the precept of cruciform transformation, cross-shaped transformation, transforming through trauma, whatever that trauma is. Cruciformity moves from deformation as a concept. And Paul talks about what that concept is. First negatively in verse 17 through to verse 19, and then positively from verse number 20 to verse 24. And so yesterday we looked at verse 17, where we saw that mindlessness leads to lifelessness, deadness. If you know anything about the wisdom literature in the Old Testament, then wisdom literature presents you with two roads from which to choose, the road to glory or the fool's way. And it says that the road that leads to folly is a freeway, but the road that leads to wisdom is a walkway. It's ordered, it's very orderly, and it has to do with a road leading to life. Anything short of life in the wisdom modality or the wisdom way of thinking is death, is a kind of death. The last time I checked, John 10:10 says, I come to give you life. Yes, really live. I come to give you life in overflowing measures. That's why at the core of the message of the followers of the way, the Christian way, is death and resurrection. Jesus says, I am the true and living way. No man comes to the source of all being except through me. And those who are cut off from the life of God are ideologically possessed by wrong thinking. They move in the futility and the frustration of their own minds. They are sucked into the vacuum of their own emptiness. Now verse number 18, they are darkened in their understanding. Oh, it gets worse. Alienated from the life of God. Why? Because of the ignorance that is in them. Yes, ignorance. You need to read a little book entitled How Ignorance Drives Science. You see, we look at scientists as these wonderfully erudite, smart individuals. Most of the time, the discoveries they make, they stumble on and they totter through. Ignorance drives science. Do you know what you don't know? You say, how is that possible? Well, we're so full of ourselves. That mathematician, I think it was George Box, who said, if knowledge is a drop, then ignorance is an ocean. If knowledge is a drop, then ignorance is an ocean. Those who do not know the God of heaven, the God of the Hebrew Christian scriptures, they are darkened in their understanding because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardness of their own hearts, the hardness of heart. They lack moral perception in their inner person. They can't really see reality for what it is because their minds have been dimmed. Their hearts are darkened because their thinking processes, their ability to perceive in their inner person, that ability to think and process information into understanding is darkened, dimmed. It further says they are separated from the life source of all being. Due to what? Their inexcusable failure to recognize truth. Recognizing truth is an inexcusable failure. Oh, but there's no such thing as truth. Oh, no, everything is relative. And we have this tomfool idea that there is no such thing as even absolute truth. All truth is God's truth, wherever it is found. And wherever that truth takes me, am I willing to take that risk? People separated from the life of God. They are alienated from the life of God because of their inexcusable failure to recognize truth, resulting from the closure of their control room, their hearts, which is the control room of their being. You see, it's a heart issue. You have shut up your heart from what is really real and really true, because even your conscience testifies to the fact as to what is really real and who is really real. The songwriter says, my God is real. What the writer is describing is what a life looks like, cut off from the life-giving source, the source of all being. The mind is darkened. The mind works with vain things, vanity of thinking, empty thinking, darkened understanding, separated from the life of God due to the hardness of their heart. Where are you postured this morning? Do you have a calloused heart, a hard heart that refuses to recognize truth? Well, you are inexcusable because God has placed deep within our being a longing for what is really real. And you know what? A longing for who that reality is. Not just what reality is, but who is really real. Because God is the ultimate reality. He is the one who is really real. And he's personally, listen to me now, personally real. Because he can relate to me. He is a life giver. He's also a life taker. He is the king. He rules over his creation. Do you have a hard heart this morning? Don't know what it means to be open to the source of all being. None other than the God of the universe. And Paul goes into this description, and he's going to continue to turn up the heat of what a deformed life looks like when he or she is separated from God, from what is really real. If you're a believer this morning and you are a follower of the way, then you have a glimpse of what is really real, and you can experience reality, the reality of God deep in your soul long before you die. Yes, you can taste and see that the Lord is good. Not just taste and see that he is really real, because your eyes have been opened to reality. As you go with God this morning, and you are a saint, you are a believer, go with the understanding that he is your reality. He calls you back to life, back to reality. I trust that you will enjoy the Lord this morning. Goodbye for now.